April, help me remember tomorrow, July 8th is when they want to have Mike's funeral, so they're
Is that on a Saturday?
Yeah, I think they're thinking maybe at the middle school gym, because I didn't know if this floor will be ready.
Yeah, I don't remember when they were starting the floor. Or,
Yeah. I mean, they're already stripping it and stuff. It's gonna be, I don't think it will be ready, but she thought maybe, I said the cafeteria, but she thought maybe the middle school gym would be more appropriate, like more room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably gonna be quite a few people.
Yeah, July 8th at
7 o'clock. Bum, bum, bum. It is 7 o'clock. Meeting of the Willamina School Board is called to order. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I didn't see you standing for the Pledge of Allegiance, Miss.
I promise.
First, order of business on the agenda, accepting Karen Stockwell's resignation. Due to moving out of state. I move to accept Karen. I don't even, that just is so
You can
weird.
say,
I can do it.
do I have a motion to?
Do I have a motion to accept Karen Stockwell's resignation from position number 2?
So are you still wanting to resign if your situation has changed? Yeah, I mean, you don't have to.
I don't have to, but you have me on the agenda.
That doesn't mean you can rescind it for your.
So I can move to rescind my resignation from position 2 until such a time when I end up moving out of state?
You can just say, it's not been approved yet, so you can rescind it.
Yeah.
It's your choice at this point.
Yeah, actually, I can do that. So I move to rescind Karen Stockwell's resignation from position number 2.
I second.
The motion to rescind Karen Stockwell's resignation from position number 2 has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments for board discussion?
Woohoo, thank you.
Congratulations. Hearing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor of...
We didn't have someone second. Did someone second?
Yeah.
Carly did.
Carly and
Oh, I
Dan
didn't hear
both
Carly.
did.
Okay.
I like Carly.
Yeah.
She's probably happy.
Oh, you're going to give that one to Carly?
Oh yeah, she's definitely happy with that.
Thanks.
Has been moved in, are there, I'm past that, questions or comments? The motion to rescind Karen Stockwell's resignation from position number 2. All of those in favor, I'm completely screwing this up. Hearing none, no questions, no comments for board discussion. All those in favor of rescinding Karen Stockwell's resignation from position number 2 signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion has passed.
I just also wanted to bring up on the, under the Board of Education, the OSBA conference registration has been open now for the August 8th, August 11th through the 13th conference. And so I need to get people registered soon. If you know tonight which days, by looking at what's on the agenda at the conference, what days that you would like to attend. If you can attend, you can choose one day, a couple days, whatever you want to do. I included what was going to be covered each day. If you see something of interest that you would like to do, you can let me know at the meeting today and I will get you registered as soon as possible, or send me an email. At least by the end of this week, let me know if you plan on attending, what days you'd like to attend, and I will get you registered. I would like to at least have a couple of board members there.
Okay.
You'll go, okay. And then just take a look at that agenda, Dan, and let me know what days you'd like to go. I'm gonna go both Friday and Saturday. So if one day works out for you, that's fine. If you can't make it at all, I mean, that's understandable too, but I'd like to at least have a couple, members there if possible.
Go through. I will let you know.
Yep.
Alrighty. Okay, next up is.
Can I ask a question real quick? These are notes here, okay, summer board conference.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's the agenda, that's, of what's gonna be covered during that, conference, different sessions. So if you see something more of interest, to you on one day in particular than another, if you wanna go both days again, that's totally fine to go. It doesn't really, matter, but they cover certain different things on different days, so, yeah, so what if you can go one day, then someone the next day, that's fine too.
Okay.
Just, shoot me an email and let me know for sure.
I have to pass that on to the boss.
Okay.
This year it's in.
What's on our-
Yeah, and this year it is in Salem at the
Yeah,
conference
which is
center,
nice.
so it's a little more convenient. Yeah. And then also I did include under the board a little recognition that Lynn Shore received recently as the West Valley, it was in the West Valley Bulletin. I just thought it was kind of a,
So she was named the Oregon Nutrition Director of the Year,
Yeah.
and then
Wow.
that entered her into the regional for the Pacific Northwest, and she was selected as the regional
Oh, cool.
Nutrition Director of the Year.
That's fabulous.
Pretty amazing.
How long has she been at the school?
She's been working for the district, wow, a long time.
yeah.
I'm trying to think. At least 20 years, maybe? Close to that.
Probably altogether, yeah.
Alrighty, thank you. Next on our agenda. I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I second.
The motion to approve the consent agenda as presented has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments for board discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion is passed. Next on our agenda, it would be our superintendent's report.
Okay, well, there isn't a whole lot as far as student activity going on right now, but we do have a whole lot of things going on. As you can see driving up, quite a bit of construction taking place right now. We're replacing sidewalks, like we're sharing prior to the meeting, our sidewalks are original for the most part, 40 plus years old, and we are trying to, we got the front entry done to the elementary a couple of years ago. We're doing the space in front of the high school, and we hope next year so that whole circle will be completed by the end of next year, but then we still have some spaces on the sides of the buildings to do too. What we've had is at the expansion joints, we've had a lot of heaving where we'll have lips, which are pretty dangerous, particularly for people walking in the evenings. We've replaced almost all of our outdoor lighting with LED lighting. That helps quite a bit, but improving safety is important. We are in the midst of sanding and refinishing the main gym floor. That's going to get sanded down completely. So it'll be new logo in the middle, new painted, new lines. So not just a refinish, but completely sand down and a resurfacing. We've had some permit delays through not only Willamina, but also through Yamhill County. We finally have all of that completed. It's amazing how many different components of our middle school expansion projects, the cost has risen even since that original planning, especially HVAC systems, even door hardware, it's just crazy. So the crew has been working diligently, really shopping around for some solutions to keep our budget within the parameters of what the budget we built to begin with. We did have a pretty heavy contingency, and that is slowly looking like it will be used. But I appreciate the extra effort. They went in and called a lot of vendors and got the HVAC system for a much better deal than the mechanical engineer quoted us. So that was really helpful. And if you drive around back, you'll see they unloaded equipment this Friday and today. So work has begun. Finance, as most everyone knows, the walkout for legislation really did cause some impact for K-12 funding and bills that can impact K-12 funding. But I'm happy to say that they, came up with a plan and got the work done. The education budget was passed Friday. We have a $10.2 billion state school fund. That's up considerably from what the governor's recommended budget of 9.6 originally. They've increased the student investment account. It was 941 million, and it is 1.01 billion. I'm not sure about Measure 98. I read through my email today from Morgan, but I'm not sure if that rose as well. But the reason the student investment account rose, though, has more to do with the early literacy bill the governor mandated or recommended, and that passed. Originally, the early literacy bill was going to come with funding, separate funding from the K-12 state school fund. And when the legislators passed the bill, they decided it was just that schools need to figure out how to fund it out of their student investment accounts. And most of us had already, as you passed tonight, created plans and budgets for our student investment accounts that didn't include the early literacy bill. So legislation went back to work and figured out how to carve out money for this new mandate. And the schools will have to match, I think, 25%. So it's a 75-25% match. And they've put $90 million in it. That will be a non-competitive grant for all public school districts based on your enrollment of your kindergarten through third grade students. So originally the first recommendation was like $170 million, which was close to anywhere from $400 to $500 per student K through 3 in any given school. So we're looking, approximately half of that. But still, it will help for Willamina. If we're getting $200, we've got approximately 275 K through 3 students, so that still is a significant amount of money. This money, though, has allowable uses, so you can use it on curriculum, literacy coaches. You can't use it on classroom teachers. It has to be very focused on literacy, and a component of it is that you have to use a curriculum that uses the science of reading. So that's kind of the big push behind it from the start, was looking at the performance of our third graders on the state testing, that we needed to do something different statewide. And so not only are they pushing this at the elementary early learner level, but they're also really taking a deep dive into the teacher prep programs of Oregon universities and colleges, and looking at how they're teaching the next group of teachers to teach reading. And what they found was there was a lot of different things being taught at the university level, and much of it was very flawed. So this is the outcome of those studies, and we look forward to putting the work in, and hopefully we see some improved results in reading at our elementary levels. The other big bill for that was passed is House Bill 819, which school districts have really talked ad nauseum about. But if you look back at your agendas, as I was reading through the board conference, I think it might be on Sunday, I noticed one of the sessions was on abbreviated days. So that is all about that House bill. Abbreviated school day programs, navigating legislative requirements and best practices. So it's even at the board level, understanding this bill and how it impacts our districts, both policy-wise and our budget, because it will impact it. You know, fortunately, we do not have a lot of students on an abbreviated day. In fact, we have 2. One was a parent request that their child only attend a partial day. And, you know, the other one was based on the IEP team, the special ed team, as they wrote the IEP for that student, deciding that that was a best placement when they got to discussing the placement. But still, this really puts a lot of parameters around how it can be used. So we'll just navigate that as it comes about. And it's not that you still can't have abbreviated days. You can. There's just a lot more hoops, and it makes it very. It makes the efforts to even put it in place really cumbersome, both on families and school districts, to be able to do it according to the laws that they've put in place. Our district leadership team, we finished up with the integrated plan that was submitted to Oregon Department of Ed. Our new tag plan was submitted to Oregon Department of Ed. And in June, I met with ODE, and we set our longitudinal growth targets for the district. They still have not sent any of that back to me, but we will get that in a formal document, and you will see what it does is it maps out where our baseline is, where our students are performing right now, both our students and then statewide. It sets a growth target, and then it sets a stretch target. And what they want to see is every district getting close to those stretch targets within a 4-year period. And so I will, as soon as they get that document back to me, I will share that with the board. That's really all I had for the board. You know, there will be a lot more next month as we start the new fiscal year, and our new member takes oath of office. We will do some refreshers on just school board work, but that's it for this month.
Alrighty, thank you, Carrie. Next up on the agenda, audience time. Now it's time for audience input. Is there anything from the audience that they feel needs to come before the board? It is not currently on our agenda. Hearing nothing, we will move on to the next item on our agenda, which is May 16th election results and certification.
So you can see in your packet all the results from the May election, and particularly the board results. Roy Whitman will be joining the board next month. However, we did have a resignation from the board after the election deadline took place, and April has corresponded with Dan and he is willing to fill that void, so we are fortunate to have someone that has already stepped up to the plate for us last time and ran for board, so that interest is, and the heart and desire is there, and I would recommend that we,
We don't need to have him and Roy arm wrestle for it?
no, because we have Shane Felton's.
Right. What position was Shane?
Shane was position.
Shane was on position,
3?
Not
let's see.
sure.
He would have been in position 5.
But that was not a position that went on the ballot because
No, it didn't.
he resigned after the deadline to register, so we have a vacancy
Right.
that needs to be filled.
You get to stay.
We thought we had 2,
Yeah, I know, it was
Yeah.
this close.
Yeah.
so, it's nice because,
Then we'll have to.
we would still have,
Before.
a majority of returning.
That's
board
David.
members.
So David,
Who is David?
Shank, he will take on position 1.
Okay.
We appointed him into this position till the end of the month, and then his next
He'll take
position will
the
be
official
position
oath of
1.
office.
And Roy will be in position 4,
Yeah.
Harley's in 3, you're in 2, and then David would be number 5.
Nice.
Full board.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay! Thank you. I didn't know he was sitting down there at the end, away from the rest of the group, at his own table.
It's a weapon.
I've been sitting on
Kinda
the track a
Dan
lot
down there
by
on the
myself,
floor.
I figured I'd-
Just come in and see what's going on at the school board meeting.
I didn't get it finished because of it, but one round to go.
David comes from a long legacy of board members in his family. I do believe either your father or your uncle was on the board when this was built.
My dad.
Yeah,
In fact, I think my dad and my grandpa,
and our softball field's the West Shank softball field, that's his grandpa.
he did a lot of,
The work to,
previously did a lot of work down there to get it. And then kind of Craig and I did it on, yeah, Dad was a school board member for years, back when I was in school.
Nice.
I think Sally, your aunt Sally served on the board for many, many years.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
No, my dad.
Yeah.
My dad and grandpa
Long history.
did do the, at one time, redo the football field down at the old high school with the farm equipment. And Dad brought his farm equipment up here to do these fields too, years ago.
Yeah, countless hours put in on these campuses to get them to presentable and usable. Okay,
All right. Next up, I move to adopt resolution 22/23-04, 05, and 06, authorizing appropriation transfers for the 22-23 fiscal year.
Second.
The motion to adopt resolution 22/23-04, 05, and 06, authorizing appropriation transfers for the 22/23 fiscal year has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments for board discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor of adopting resolution 22/23-04, 05, and 06, authorizing appropriation transfers for the 22/23 fiscal year signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion is passed.
All of those were additional monies not budgeted, so it's always exciting
yeah,
to make
yeah,
them for additional monies.
right.
There's so many, wait a minute, okay, there's so many more. This reminds me of last September.
Rather than policies.
Yes,
Oh my gosh. I move to adopt resolution 22/23-07, changing the budgeting basis of accounting at Willamina School District from GAAP modified accrual basis and full accrual basis to special purpose reporting framework modified cash basis.
Second.
The motion to adopt, can I just say number one? Okay.
Right.
Adopt resolution 22/23-07, changing the budgeting basis of accounting at Willamina School District from GAAP modified accrual basis and full accrual basis to special purpose reporting framework modified cash basis has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments for board discussion?
Lisa, do you wanna give a short blurb of the difference between the two?
The difference has to do a lot with the new GASB requirements on leases. They've really put a lot of work to not change it, and this was the auditor's recommendations to simplify those new requirements that are coming from the auditing world.
So the modified cash basis is actually easier than either of the other two?
It lessens the requirements of the new GASB lease requirements that are now imposed on auditors
Wow.
and us. So yes,
Thank you.
changes very little of anything else other than those lease options. Yeah.
Right? Fabulous. Alrighty. All those in favor of adopting resolution 22/23-07, changing the budgeting basis of accounting of Willamina School District from GAAP modified accrual basis and full accrual basis to special purpose reporting framework modified cash basis, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion is passed. And finally, I move to adopt resolution 22/23-08. Wait, didn't we just do this?
We did open.
Changing, well, the rest of it was all the same. Oh, changing the financial reporting of Willamina School District from GAAP modified accrual basis and full accrual basis to special purpose reporting framework modified cash basis.
Second.
The motion to adopt resolution 22/23-08, changing the financial reporting of Willamina School District from GAAP modified accrual basis and full accrual basis to special purpose reporting framework modified cash basis has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or comments for board discussion? Hearing none, I call for the vote. All those in favor of adopting resolution 22/23-08, changing the financial reporting of Willamina School District from GAAP modified accrual basis and full accrual basis to special purpose reporting framework modified cash basis, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed signify by saying nay. Motion is passed. Future agenda items. Org meeting July 10th, 2023. Is that our next?
Will be our next meeting, we will select officers,
Woohoo!
set the calendar, the meeting calendar for the fiscal year, the school year.
Do all the things.
Yeah.
Therefore, there being nothing further on the agenda to discuss, the meeting of the Willamina School Board is hereby adjourned.
Thank you.